All right. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining in. I can see I'm having one Mr. Fentola on the call. Good evening, sir. Welcome to the second edition of the Pick My Brain series with Top Flighters Academy and the host teacher Funke. So it's a great privilege to have you join us tonight on this edition, this series on the Pick My Brain series. So if tonight is the first time of joining, this is the second episode. We had the first episode last month, and this is the second episode of Pick My Brain section. So last month we had teacher Peter from Uganda with the topic on how teachers can live a transformed life. So things involved in living a transformed life as an educator. So this month edition, we're going to be talking about technology in the classroom, the effects and the benefit of technology in the classroom. So I'm going to go, yeah, the screen is sharing already. So let's move to our guest speakers for tonight. So on tonight's call, we'll be having Mr. Uche Unwobi and then teacher Funke, myself, on the call this evening. So this is how the table of content goes. This is how the program tonight goes. We're going to be having the meet and greet section for just 2 to 3 minutes, and we have what we do here at Top Flighters Academy. Then the main section, which has to pick my brain. So we have Mr. Uche on the call tonight. Then we'll go to the question and answers in case you have any question and answer from the section, and they will evaluate and reflect on what we are going to do tonight. Then we have lastly is the announcement. So about us at Top Flighters Academy. Okay. I don't know if you can hear, kindly just drop an emoji in the comment section just to know that you're following. Kindly drop an emoji, just let's know that you're following. Okay. So before I read this, just let's quickly introduce ourselves. Just tell us your name, the school you're teaching, the class you're teaching also. Just let's get to meet ourselves briefly. Let's use the chat section quickly. Drop your name, the school you're teaching or you're working, and then the names, the subject you teach in your various school. Let's do that. Let's keep that coming. So while that is coming in, let me tell us a brief about us, about the work we do at Top Flighters Academy. So Top Flighters Academy is an educational institute aimed at bridging the gap in the educational system. Basically, we are starting from Nigeria, then we span to Africa and to the whole of the world, to where we're going to be bridging the gap, and that's what we're doing. So our area of specialization is 21st century and blended learning approaches. We deal with digital citizenship, education. They also deal with education for sustainable development, and then social and emotional learning. So all of these are things that as teachers in this age and time, these are the things that we need in our classroom. So in as much as we do not want to raise learners that are that have one deficiency in one areas of their lives or the other, that we need to build holistic, we need to have an holistic education. So that is why we have the blended learning approach. You have the digital citizenship education, and then we have the education for sustainable development, and then social and emotional learning. So if you have anything to do with all of these subjects, then Top Flighters Academy is a go-to on all of this. So okay, so that's a little about our work at Top Flighters Academy. So like I said earlier, just tell us, introduce yourself, name, where you teach, the age group of the learners, the subject you teach, and your current time of joining us. So in the group tonight, we have different teachers from different parts of the world. We have teachers from India here, from Uganda, from Nigeria, from various parts of Nigeria also. So just for us to know where you are connecting from. Just help us to do a little introduction, help us to meet you, help us to know you. We can do that in the comment section. So let's have that in the next 1 or 2 minutes while we proceed. All right, I have a message now. Okay, yes, all right. Thank you, Mr. Fentola Emmanuel, a teacher at Great Omega International School, Lagos. It's so good to have you on the call tonight. Thank you for joining us, sir. So while other people get their comment, get their introduction coming, let's move to the next part of the slide. So it's always a 1 hour program, so just have 1 hour to do this. So let's meet our special guest speaker for tonight's edition on the Pick My Brain section. So we're picking Mr. Uche Nwobi's brain this tonight, as he is okay. Let me just read his bio so get to know him better. So Mr. Uche Nwobi is an educational technology expert, driving innovation and old school technology integration and digital transformation through EdTech training, workshops, and conferences. He is a Microsoft Innovative Educator Master Trainer, Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert, Microsoft Global Training Partner, a certified Google Educator Trainer, certified coding and robotics instructor, and a connection-based learning master teacher with Flipgrid UK, Wakelet UK, and then Empathical USA. He is a graduate of Lagos State University of Education. He studied software engineering at NIIT, a reimagined education course graduate from the University of Exeter, UK. Mr. Uche also holds a teacher training diploma from the University of Buckingham, that's UK. So he is a Teach SDGs ambassador, a Google Applied Digital Skills ambassador, and a BBC Microbit community partner for Nigeria. So Mr. Uche has over 27 years of classroom teaching experience in both primary and secondary school. So with so much joy and gladness, we're welcoming Mr. Uche Nwobi to the call tonight. Good to have you, sir. Welcome. So the next voice we're going to have is about, it's the voice of Mr. Uche Nwobi, who's going to quickly tell us a little about himself beyond what we have on the slide. So over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Akpan, and thank you, Top Flighters Academy, for the work you're doing. I'm excited to be on this call tonight, and I hope I'm audible. I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you, sir.
Okay, go ahead. All right, thank you. So I'm excited to be on this call tonight. I know that you've been doing a lot around tech and how it should be applied in the classroom. So when I got the opportunity to be on this call, I jumped at it because I'm excited. I always have the passion, to do something that will impact another person, especially teachers, because we are in that area where we are molding life, we're preparing the future. The future of the country, and of course globally making impact across the world. So like she has said, Uche is my name. I work with Microsoft, and of course also a co-founder and president at ISET, and we're doing a lot about a lot around education and the use of technology. So I'm excited to be here tonight. Thank you so much for that introduction.
All right, sir. Thank you so much, sir. I don't know, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
All right. Okay, sir. Thank you for that, sir. Okay. So before we continue on the major reason why we're here tonight to talk about the effects and the benefits of having to use technology in the classroom. So from your profile, I read that you're so much into educational technology. So and then Tucano Third is where I have the Microsoft Global Training Partner. So can you tell us a little bit about how you're able to get to that, um, yes, to that level? So what do you do as a Microsoft Global Training Partner? Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that question. The journey has been a very interesting one. I guess it was around 2019 when I and my partner we formally decided that we're going to move into this space, the educational technology space, and see how we can impact our country in the way that we can. And it stemmed from the fact that what is happening globally is a trend that everyone must, align with. And looking at what is happening all over the world, we saw that in this part of the world, we're not there. We're not even, there is difference between we're not there yet and that we're not there. We are not even there. At that time, we saw that a lot of things are not being done in the area of education, the use of educational technology in the classroom. And we started from studying and trying to do online courses. We started studying with Microsoft, started doing a lot with Google. And of course, we came to a point where we felt, look, this is something that we have to start getting teachers to know how they can apply this technology in the classroom. And we decided that we're going to organize the first conference that was in 2019. And I remember that conference was almost like a stampede because we didn't expect it. We just said, look, let's do this. Let's get this information out. Let's train teachers. Our focus wasn't because we wanted to make money, and it has never been. Our focus has always been to make impact. We felt that we could do something to make a shift in the trend. We realized no one was actually doing anything, and it's just like things are not going the way it's supposed to be. And we started in 2019. We got a conference out, first head very close to us in Lagos here. And we had over 500 people that attended that conference. And of course, it was almost like a free conference, so to say. And we saw the interest, we saw the passion, we saw that teachers wanted to learn about how they could use technology properly in the classroom to improve teaching and learning. And that was our drive. From then on, we said, look, we're going to do this. We're going to hold the next conference. We're going to hold the next conference. And we started from there. And it was in the process of organizing these conferences that we got a closer call with Microsoft. We got, into the community. We learned that we could do better than what we were doing, and we got involved in that area, and we started working. And then, of course, with our training, with the impact we're making, as of today, we have been able to reach over 25 states in this country. I mean, we have traveled, not just doing online conference. CS Force Lagos, particularly, I want to mention that in particular, and we have done that for about 25 states in this country. Even places that were marked as no-go area, we've been there. Places like Kaduna, we had to go there because the yearning and the interest and the passion was just too big. And we decided, look, we're going to go to all these places. And we have organized close to about 28 conferences across these states. And all of that, we have physical in-person conferences. And Microsoft saw these things we're doing, and we have to give you all the necessary empowerment that you need to be able to do better. And that actually brought about our application to becoming a global training partner after we had gone through the process of being a master trainer, of course, an MIE expert in the Microsoft program. And with what we're doing, it was just too much to being just an expert. And of course, just being a master trainer, we had that privilege to move up and become a global training partner. And that's how we got there. It was just not that We just walked in there. It was hard work. And when I mean hard work, it was hard work because we had to be in all these states training teachers. And to God's glory, we have trained over 15 to 20,000 teachers across Nigeria and even in another area in Africa, probably those that have joined us online during online conferences and all of that. So the passion has been there. The interest has been just unimaginable. And because we are seeing the impact it's making, people coming back to us to say, look, I am happy I attended your conference. I'm happy I was at that program. I learned this, I learned that. I'm able to transform this in my classroom. So all of that has been the drive, behind what we're doing today. So it wasn't easy, but we're still pushing forward because we want to go beyond just being a Microsoft Global Training Partner. We want to bring other aspects of educational technology programs from all other part of the world to Nigeria and to teachers across the length and breadth of Africa. Thank you very much.
All right, wow, that's a powerful one. That's a good one. So, at the heart of whatever we do, let passion be the drive. Even though it might not be, it's not going to be an easy one. But what I learned is that passion. If there is a problem, if there's a problem within your community, within your profession, within wherever you find yourself, we should always look for ways to solve the problems. And when you solve problems, what happen? You build capacity, and then you also create much more awareness about yourself. Thank you so much for that. So the first question on the call tonight is, I've been a teacher for more than a decade. I've been in the classroom for like 13 years now. So when it comes to technology, I know most teachers kind of shy away from technology. Another thing about technology is that they see when you ask the teachers if they can use technology, so the response you get from them shows that they have a limited understanding of what technology is. So some people think that technology means just for you to be able to navigate, just for you to be able to navigate your ways via social media, and also for you to be able to operate your phone, just that, for you to be able to navigate your way through social media. And then once you're able to navigate or to use your mobile phone device properly, you're kind of good to go when it comes to technology, let's say in the classroom. So aside that, because I think using tech in the class is beyond that. It's just beyond being able to press your phone, being able to navigate your ways via social media. So in your own opinion, what do you think technology really means in the classroom? As an educational technology expert, what do you think when it comes to technology in the classroom, the educational system? What is that thing that you really think that technology means in order to curb some misconceptions about technology in the classroom as a 21st century teacher?
All right, thank you so much. I want to say that having been doing this for quite a while now, I can confidently say that we have a lot of misconceptions around technology, and the excitement is just too huge that some people think that all you need is just have technology. If you have technology, wow, you have been able to, you can do anything. Yeah, but technology is not all. Technology is not teaching and learning in and of itself, like it has always been understood. I think that what brought about that many a times when we have conferences and we ask these questions relating to this question you're asking right now, and people tell us, oh, people are just excited. They want to learn how they can use technology. They want to learn this. They are excited about learning this. They want to know how they can, have virtual calls, how they can have online classroom teaching and learning, how they can use their systems to use cloud technology to impact. Now, all of that, if you put it together, is just a part of the learning process. It's not all of the learning process. And technology cannot, and I say that as an expert, it cannot substitute pedagogy. It can substitute the theory of teaching and learning. technology in and of itself is just a tool, or tools put together to aid teaching and learning, to improve the way that we teach and the way we learn. That's just the role of technology. So the technology is just playing part of the role for the teacher. One of the roles that technology play is that when you have technology, first it begins with knowing, having the skill required, and then having the tool itself. Now, when you blend these two together, what it will do is that it will help bring to life what you are already doing in the classroom. It can't replace the way you teach. A teacher being in the classroom, acting like a guide to the student. Technology can't do that. Even if you put robots in the classroom, they will not act like the teacher. They will not instruct like the teacher. They will not play the role of a teacher. They won't mark the teacher's lesson notes. They won't do the physical, delivery of the process of learning that the teacher is supposed to do. Technology cannot do that. Technology will only help refine and redefine the way teaching and learning is done. For example, you want to make a presentation in the classroom, and it requires the teacher to have prepare a slide where the teacher has itemized all the items that he or she wants to present to the class. And having done that, the role of technology is to help you put it in a slide, for example, help you project it to the screen so that everyone can see better. Because if the teacher just talk about it and without having some of this audio and visual, the multimedia effect of teaching and learning, it's going to be a lot more abstract. But when you bring in technology helps you put that presentation on the slide. It helps you put it on the screen. It helps you bring out more audibility of your delivery. And all of that put together simply tells us that the process of making sure that teaching and learning is adequately delivered in the classroom is not the entire role of technology itself. Is the teacher bringing in the knowledge base, bringing in the skill, bringing in the ability, even the knowledge of how to use the technology, and then bringing technology of itself into the teaching process. Blending both together is what makes it effective. So it's really a big misconception for teachers or educational people in the educational space to think that once you have technology, you don't need to work the process. No, it's not. Technology is just part of the process, and we need to understand that it's important to blend the process. If you do too much of technology, you're going to miss a lot part of the delivery process. If you do less of technology, something is going to be missing in the delivery process as well. So there is need for us to really strike a balance in trying to blend the process of bringing teaching with technology into the classroom. So I think that we have to really begin to rethink the way we teach and the way we learn, because technology will not do what the teacher is supposed to do. It can only help improve what the teacher is supposed to do. So I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions that we have today. And I think that this will also help us clarify it, knowing that having the skill and having technology, then blending the process of learning that the teacher brings to the class or bring to the process is very important. There has to be a very complete blend or blending to the process that will support effective teaching and learning.
All right, that's a great one. Thank you so much, sir. Okay, so to ensure that it's not just a one-way thing, I would just suggest that kindly, as he's speaking, if there is any point or any statement that resonates with us, let's kindly drop in the comment section. Okay, so we're not just listening to we are aware or sure that everyone is following. So please drop a comment, whatever resonates well, if you just drop in the comment box. So thank you so much for that. So already I've dropped some in the comment box. You spoke about that technology cannot substitute pedagogy, and then it's a set of tools that aid teaching and learning. Then it says knowing or having the skills required and having the tools rather. So And then last, you mentioned creating a balance. It's
That's
not
right.
enough to be a good teacher. It's not enough to have the skills. So how are you able to blend the skills, the knowledge you acquired from the College of Education or whatever institution you attended, and then blend it with technology? And you also said, so having too much of it is not good, and even having lesser one is not good. So we should learn
That's
how we
right.
can strike a
The
balance
balance.
with technology in the classroom. Okay,
That's right.
so aside that, to one other question that is going to come up is also about a misconception in the classroom. Okay, so I've heard this a lot of time, that using technology in the classroom will make teachers and learners lazy. And I've heard that from a school owner some time ago, that when you use technology in the class, it makes the teachers lazy. It also makes the learners too lazy. So, in your own opinion, what do you see to that? Is that actually true when it comes to edutech?
Okay, thank you very much. Um,
Yes, sir.
that is not true. That is not true. I would say that technology doesn't make teachers and students lazy. Technology actually improves teaching and learning and strive to make it effortless. All right, that's what technology does. It doesn't make teachers lazy. It actually improves teaching and learning so that teachers can apply more of their time into instead of, for example, I'll give you a very clear instance to that. With technology, it's possible that you have prepared your lesson notes. You have your lesson notes on OneNote, and that you already have the content already prepared in OneNote, and you're going to have a kind of interactive class. When your student join you. I'm going to look at it from two perspectives now, whether it's online or whether it's offline. But whichever way you're looking at it, let's talk about physical classroom now. One technology, by the time a teacher prepares all the content together and he's ready for the class, when the actual class actually starts, the teacher has done the work. If you compare that to when the teacher will have to wait to write the lesson note on the board, and then it will take almost half of the time to try to write all the notes on the chalkboard, and then you start explaining. You do less of the explanation, and then you just ask them to write the notes, and then the class has taken place. But you can see that that could seem to be like a lot of work. The teacher is active, he's walking to the chalkboard, he's writing and asking them, have you written this part? Can I rub off this part? And all of that. That seems to be a lot of work as it may look. But the truth of the matter is that the other part of the process is actually better, and it does not seem to show, it does not show that the teacher is actually being lazy or the students are being lazy. Now let's look at the other side. When the lesson notes are already ready, the slide is already on the screen, the students are in the class, so no time wasted. So the time I'm supposed to use to write the things on the board, I have already spent that time, which you can equate to be like the work I'm supposed to do now. I've already done it before because I've prepared my lesson note, and right now is on the screen. So I'm going to have a lot more engaging class with my student because the work is already done. I don't need to write, it's already on the screen, or I'm already sharing it on Teams or Zoom or whatever environment you're using, platform you're using to make your class teaching. So I have a lot more time for us to interact, for us to discuss, for us to make research, for us to investigate, for us to think about how we can improve what we have learned and all of that. And you can see there will be a lot of effective driven kind of learning in that kind of environment. So it doesn't mean the teacher is lazy, and it doesn't make the student lazy. One thing that we should all know is that this is their time. This is the period of technology, and you can't take it away from the classroom. You can't say that if I give them laptop, they won't work, or if I give the student tablet, they will start pressing the tablet and they won't work. No, it's technology era, and no one can take it away from this era. All we have to do is to see how we can use it to improve teaching and learning. And I have given an instance in this process I'm trying to talk about now, that it helps teacher prepare adequately. That's one. Two, it gives the teacher a lot of time to be able to collaborate with his students. And instead of writing on the board, it's already written. So we are going to discuss it a lot more elaborately, and we're going to have a lot more impact made in the process. So I think that technology doesn't make teachers lazy. It doesn't make students lazy. And it's not just that I think, it is actually true that it doesn't. It actually the other way is actually the other way around. It improves teaching and learning, and it makes it a lot more effective and make it effortless, because it's easier on the screen than on the paper. So I think that is one of the misconceptions we need to correct. It doesn't make teachers lazy. Rather, it makes teaching and learning effective. Hello, Mrs. Akpan, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. I'm here. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on that, sir. Thank you.
Yeah,
So
it's my
technology
pleasure.
doesn't make teachers and students lazy, but it helps to have an effective and efficient class.
Classroom.
Also helps to have an engaging class. Also, thank you
That's
for
right.
that. So something popped up in my mind. So take for instance, I have slide to show, or you're using an interactive board. So no, we also have the aspect of learning, the psychomotive aspect of
Yes,
learning, which has to do
that's
with
right.
uh, writing, the physical one. So when it
That's
comes
right.
to, if I'm using boards, I'm using the smart board almost all the time. So how do I work on the handwriting aspect of my learners? Because if that is what I'm doing, so what then I'm now going to do that my learners handwriting too are not kind of affected in that way? So is
Okay.
there any tool that can be used that will help learners handwriting? Because on the normal board you have that
Mhm.
writing on the main or the local or traditional board, it's handwriting. So I'm looking at it
That's
in
right.
this regard. Yes, sir.
That's right. Okay, thank you. I there are a lot of tools, and I might not be able to put my fingers on those ones that are most effective in this area, but we have a lot of tools. In fact, if you have access to a Microsoft account, and I would say Office 365 account, that's the school A1 license edition, and your school has access to that, you will realize that you can integrate digital apps into the collaboration space, where the students are able to use their pen actually to write on the screen of their devices, and it will appear exactly like that in their notebooks. And that's an amazing impact technology has done, because I have seen or heard this question a couple of times, and it's as if Microsoft and some of these platforms had actually thought ahead of that time, and they had prepared something that we actually cushion that will take care of that area. So we have tools like that. We have a lot of them. In fact, Microsoft I want to, is it the that's the screen board or screenwriter board or something. I'll look for some of those, and probably see how I can share that. The student can write on the screen, and that's one. Now, if we are too concerned that that's not enough, we can actually have them, share their thoughts on real paper. They write, and when you give them a project, you ask them to write a project and take a snapshot of it and share on the digital classroom. Okay, that way you are able to see their handwriting, and they also have, the ability to also use other physical tools, writing pads and writing exercise books, to also put their handwriting in. But I think that has been totally taken care of with some of the tools that are available digitally. When children, that we enable students and teachers, to write their lesson notes using in fact, if it's a touch screen, most devices are touch screen, and most tablets and iPad are touch screen. So they use their fingers to write, and they can also use a digital pen to also write on the screen, and it appears exactly like that in their note. So we have a lot of tools like that. So I think that, yes, it's a kind of concern, but also technology has grown to bring some level of integration that will support children still being able to use their hands to write in order to improve their handwriting.
Okay, so thank you so much for that. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let me go to have like two more questions to go, which is kind of it's in I think part of what you said. You mentioned Microsoft Office 365,
That's
and
right.
then aside that, the fact is that most schools or most school owners or
Mm-hmm.
even teachers, we see technology as something that is expensive,
Mm-hmm.
something that you cannot just venture into like
That's right.
that. So if technology is expensive, so what that means that not everyone is going to have access to it. Not every school is going to have access to
Mm-hmm.
technology being expensive. So
Mm-hmm.
what's your thoughts on that?
Mm.
And is there your organization or you personally, is there anything that you'll be doing that can actually ease the stress of this on teachers and also on school?
All right. Thank you so much for that question, and I really like to share my thoughts on that. Yes, it's another misconception, but has a level of truth in it. You know, a very high level of truth, because if you look at how much devices are sold in the market, you will be able to see that if you want to, for example, have an Android phone right now, or let's say tablet for for your child or a pupil to use, you know, to have technological kind of experience in the classroom, you will have to spend some money. Basically, some of them are around in naira, around maybe 40, 30, 50,000. I mean, the low cost ones. And then if you want to buy maybe brand new, we have them in various categories, brand new and fairly used and all of that. But I would say that it's a process. And technology or technological tools, I want to be very specific, you know, in the market are expensive, especially if you're going for brand new devices. Okay. But there are a lot that organizations are doing to see how we can provide that service. Now, for us at iSet, one of the things that we do is that we try to provide a very lasting answer to that question of technology is expensive. We can't afford to buy laptops for our teachers. We can't afford to buy tablets or maybe iPad for our students. So how do we now afford technology? How can we use these tools? You know, and all the questions that comes around that. But for us, what we do is that we provide a product at iSet that provide that service for schools, particularly. I want to say schools now because when you have that kind of dealings with schools, you can be rest assured that the plan will be able to go through in terms of repayments and all of that. So what we do is we ask schools to choose the kind of devices they want, whether they want to buy laptops or whether they want to buy tablets. And we look at the total cost that is involved in buying that tablet or the set of computers. And we ask schools to pay 40% of that value. And then we supply 100% of that value to the school. And we ask them to pay the 60% at 3 installments, depending on the amount. If the amount is small amount, they pay at 2 installments. And that is not just monthly installment. I'm talking about termly installment. That means, for example, a school says we want to buy laptops or want to buy desktop computers, let's say 20. And what do we do? Simply, what we ask them to do is you pay 40% of the entire amount required to purchase the set of computers or set of devices that you want, and we go ahead and make sure that we deliver 100%. That means you pay 40%, but we provide you 100% service. Then you can spread the remaining one, that's the 60%, for like 3 times. That's almost a year. So that's one of the ways that we try to help schools, afford technological tools that can improve teaching and learning. But having said that, it's still very important for us to note that the minimum device that a teacher is required to use, or a teacher can use to still have a technological experience with his students or her students in the classroom, is an Android phone. It doesn't cost so much. There are Android phones of, less amount, 15, 20,000. And every teacher, I would say that proudly, every teacher around the globe or around the country has an Android, at least. An average teacher has access to an Android phone. And that's enough for you to have a virtual field trip, a digital class experience with your students. Okay, so it's not just that it's expensive. There is a place we can start. Why we not look for organizations like us, like ISET here, where we provide that kind of service that will help ease the stress, the financial stress on the school in terms of the device they want to deploy. So if you're a school or you work in a school and you're having problem with devices, or you can't access computers and there is this complaint that technology is expensive, you can reach out to organizations like ISET, the International Community for Educational Technology, and we can provide you that service of deploying the computers or the devices you want to your school, and they pay just only 40%, and then they can pay the remaining balance of 60% in 3 installments about in a year. So that's one of the things that we do to help support schools on providing technological tools for them to use in the classroom. Hello?
Oh, sorry for that. Okay, thank you so much for that, sir.
It's my
So
pleasure,
I've
yeah.
dropped a link on about a link to access more information about that job at ISET. So in case you
That's
want to
right.
know more, we can always go through the
Beautiful.
website.
Thank you so much.
I have
Yeah.
2 more questions, but I'll just take one more. I'll just
Okay.
take one so
All
as
right.
to allow other people ask their own question. So
Okay.
the last question I'm having here says, so if as a teacher or as a school we are using technology in the classroom, so sometimes even in the class it could stand as a distraction. That is when it is not properly used, or when the teacher does not plan his or her classroom with the use of technology effectively. So there's a place for planning. So if you don't plan how you're going to blend tech in your classroom, instead of it to become a tool to engage learners, it can become a tool to distract them. And then
That's right.
once there's a distraction, learning won't take place. So the question I want to ask is that, okay, let me just ask it 2 in 1 question. So how can we create or strike a balance? I think you've said that. So how do
Okay.
we ensure that students are using technology for good outside the classroom? So most time in
Okay.
the class, they are confined to the classroom. They're able to monitor them, but once they go home, then they're out of the teacher's view. So how do we ensure there is a balance even at school and then at home? Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, thank you so much. I love that question. First, how do we ensure that it's not a distraction? I totally agree with you that if technology is not properly used by a teacher in the classroom, it can make or mar the entire class. It can really, really be a very huge distraction if it's not properly used. And like you just mentioned in that question, planning is so essential. You can't put that away. For example, you're trying to have a virtual class and you want a classroom in the UK to join your classroom in Nigeria here via Microsoft Teams um, or probably Telegram or something like this to have a virtual call. You need to prepare for that lesson. It's so important. In fact, today I had to prepare for this because I had to ask the presenter, Top Lighter, I had to ask her that, look, I need to have a pre-call, all right? And then we had a pre-call to ensure that everything is working perfectly before I engage on this webinar. So it's important. Everybody does that. Don't think you are too big. I already know it all. I don't need to prepare for the call. I don't need to prepare to set up the technology before my class or something. You just don't know. Just a little something that you're not properly prepared for can just mar your entire class. So one, I totally agree with you that it can be a distraction if it's not properly managed. Then it can also be a distraction if the teacher does not have adequate knowledge of the technological tool he or she is trying to use. And I think that that is even the most of the problem, or the place where we can say that it can be a distraction. I have been in that situation before. I have, when I started using technology, and I remember we were trying to have a virtual call with a school in the UK, and I just learnt about it at that time. I jumped on it, and I thought it was that easy, and I just didn't prepare the screen. I it's just to plug it. I plug it, it shows, and then we have a class. But then the moment I tried to connect, something was wrong. The cable was not there. I think that was a HDMI cable to connect. And where do I get the cable? And then I started, because I wasn't prepared. I wasn't really prepared. I thought I really know how to do it all, And that's where we say that if you're not prepared for the lesson, you can just run around for the whole entire 40 or 50 minutes or 1 hour you're supposed to have the class without really making maximum impact, on your pupils, and of course on the person that you're trying to make the impact on. So that's another way that it can be a distraction. Then on the students themselves, how do we ensure that they properly use technology? Yes, even in the school, if you don't have a very proper security setup for the technology that the students are using, they can actually misuse it. One of the things that we do as a Microsoft global training partner and as a cloud service provider, when we deploy Office 365 for schools, is to set up their Teams classroom to ensure that there cannot be a private video call. And I tell you the impact of that because we have had various experience with schools that said the two students, a male and a female, were having video call, and there were, a lot of things that were wrong were going on, So that can happen if there are no adequate security. So what we do is that, or what Microsoft has done, is to provide top-notch level security, so that whenever a student who uses a Microsoft account that is attached to the school signs in into any of the browser or application, the security level is extracted from Microsoft platform because they're using a Microsoft login detail, to ensure that that student does not do certain things. It doesn't visit certain websites. It doesn't go to certain places. It will just say that you are restricted. They may not even know why they are restricted, but the restriction has been done when their accounts were being created. So all of that is put in place. And when we deploy platforms like that, we ensure that those top-notch securities are put there. So whether the students are in the school or they're at home, there is a level of monitoring that is being done. The administrator can sign in from anywhere in the world and see what each student are doing, what website they have visited. In fact, they can call them up on the assembly the following that said, you went to this website, it was restricted. How did you get there? And all of that. So there is a top level kind of security and monitoring that is provided on Microsoft platform and some of all these platforms. Then I also want to mention that there is actually no need to be afraid. And I tell parents and I tell teachers, that was the way we were told, that the way we were taught, and the things that we were told. That technology, if you go to the internet, you will die. If you go to the internet, you will get lost, as if we will just disappear from our home. There are a lot of bad things happening around the internet, bullying and all of that, and pornography. And so they kind of discourage people from using technology. Yes, those things happen. And I put it to you as the presenter of this wonderful program. I put it to you that technology didn't destroy you. I know that it may have, in one word, that affected some students. It didn't destroy me. We had access to internet even when it was not regulated, even when there were no security. But we are still here. Why? Because we have consistently continued to work in that in the proper way of using it, even when nobody told us. So this is the time. This is technology era. Students should use it. We can provide all the guide, provide all the security, but Please, we must allow them to use technology. Let them use the internet. They are not going to get lost. Let them use their devices. They are not going to, even when they try to do something like that, there can be restrictions for them. So I think that is also one of the misconceptions, that if students use technology, they will do something that is wrong. What about focusing on them doing something that is right, instead of them doing something that is wrong? So it's important that we give them that leverage and allow them to swim in the era of their use of technology. So I will just drop it at that. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for that um, brainstorming, a mind blowing one. So I just like to add one or two things to what you said.
That's
I
right.
think it's good to have technology in the classroom for the learners, but over the years, I've noticed that one thing is out of the classroom. Any classroom or in this age, there is something that is missing when it comes to the use of technology. We have something like ICT in schools, but we do not teach the learners the don'ts of
Mm,
technology.
that's right.
But that will lead me to talking about digital citizenship education. So we
That's
tell the
right.
children, don't do this, don't use technology. Why is it that they should not use it? So if you don't want to use it, then this is a tool. So in what way, how can I use
Should then.
technology for good? So I think that is something that is missing in our world today, which is being
That's right.
practiced in different countries of the world, digital
That's right.
citizenship education. So in top as academy, we do seminars, we do trainings on that. So if you want to know more on that, you can just go to our YouTube link. We've done series of trainings or webinars on digital citizenship education. How teachers can bring that into the classroom. So we have different aspects of that. Even when it comes to cyberbullying, it's part of digital citizenship. When it comes to digital marketing, is part of it, because we're training them now for the nearest future. So if they are not aware of how to trade, how to buy and sell things online, then that means we are not prepared them for the future. So in
That's right.
that education, it helps you to prepare them for the future, not just about learning things, not just about knowledge, it's about skill acquisition. So how can they use technology for good? We need to talk about that, not just in the
That's right.
ICT class, but even in
Hmm.
every subject that we offer in the classroom. Okay, thank you, sir. All right, so
Pleasure.
what was is having a question, because I want us to leave by 9. Oh, we just have 1 minute to go. So
Yeah, sure.
here's from Mr. Frentola Emmanuel. It says, how do we get parents involved concerning the use of technology in classroom? It says some of them see it as a waste of time, as much as the school is willing and the teachers are ready, but the
Hmm.
parents are not cooperating. So how do we get parents involved?
All right, quickly in 1 minute. I will just say that there is something missing that the school has not done. And what is missing is that the school has not been able to bring the parents to understand what they are doing. They may have probably mentioned it in PTAs, but there is not a standard framework that will support the parents to make the transition from what they believe to what it is supposed to be. Here at ISET, one of the things we do is that for schools, we have a lot of schools we kind of consult for. And one of the things that we do in this recent time is we provide what we call digital transformation framework. In that framework, we give parents a period of time of real engagement for them to understand that we are moving from a non-digital kind of learning to a digitalized kind of learning. So that during that framework, it can be a year program. They start knowing that, oh, in our school, every child is now going to be using laptop. We are not saying everybody should start now, but please start preparing to buy for your students, for your children, and all of that. So there is a kind of, we keep preparing them, keep moving them. We did it in a school, and within 2 terms, all the students have laptops, all of them. It was one of the schools that it seemed it was impossible, but they followed the transformation framework. Parents got into it so much that even the list of them that was not even expected to responded. So there is a process, and that's what's important. If you follow the process, you will get all your parents to actually align with you in the use of digital technology in the classroom.
Okay, just follow the process. Thank you so much,
That's
sir.
right.
Okay, so I don't
My
know,
pleasure.
does anyone have any other question to ask Mr. Uche before we end the call? You can drop an emoji or you just unmute yourself. Tonight we started talking about the nice focus is really on the effect of technology in the classroom. So, do you have any question for him? Probably you have a question that's been bothering you for some time on the use of tech in the classroom. You can just quickly drop your question. Anybody before we call it a day? You can either drop an emoji, or you just unmute yourself and speak. All right, so I'll just count that as no question from us. So let's just take the few announcements. So this is a monthly webinar that was started last month. So this is second edition. And then I also like to appreciate everyone for making 2022 a success. So without you teachers, there is no way that we would have been able to achieve the feats that we achieved in this year. So in the nearest month, in the coming month, so although this year we had trainings on flipped classroom, that's basically on to how to differentiate instructions in the classroom. So in the coming year, we're going to be having more trainings on this, and also we are going to be having a new do I say new flag, or do I say new feather? So we're going to be having something new in the coming year. Instead of having webinars almost all the time, we're going to be creating courses for teachers. So on your own, within your free period, you can learn at your own pace. So watch out for our courses in the first quarter of the year. And then also there is a 4 weeks live section on Facebook on building interior empires for world-class teachers. So it's in progress, and we're going to end that on Friday. So we started since day one, since December 1st. If you check my Facebook page on, you're going to see that every morning by 5 a.m. It's called the teachers 5 a.m. Teachers Club. So if you're here to join the live section, kindly ensure you do that tomorrow morning by 5 a.m. and then you can also watch the real you can watch the ones that the previous ones done. So lastly says it is an aberration for 21st century teachers to be passive online. Share your thoughts online consistently. So it's not enough for us to have technology tools. It's not enough for us to be online. So teachers, people need to hear our voices. The system we have today is not so pleasant because most of us are keeping quiet. So if we really need the government, the leaders to do something, they need to hear our voice. So we can use technology as a tool, okay, to hear our voice as a tool for change, not just being quiet about it. So that your social media handle can actually go a long way to bring a change to the educational system in Nigeria, in any community that you belong to. So use tech for good, use tech to air your voice. All right. So
That's
I
right.
think that is also, we have series of trainings like I've said earlier. So you can always reach out to us. And then the coming here, be expecting more from us when it comes to blog posts, when it comes to podcasts, when it comes to weekly and monthly newsletters. So watch out for so much things from Top Flighters Academy. So this is ongoing 5 a.m. Teachers Club, I said earlier. And then please feel free to connect with us on all social media and just personally, that's Teacher Funke Akwan. And then for Top Flighters, we have a Top Flighters Academy. So I think that's all for tonight. Thank you once again for joining the second edition of the Pick My Brain section. So happy holidays. Thank you for making the year 2022 a pleasant one. Looking forward to a greater year 2023. We are going to share minds together. We're going to accomplish so much feats together. Thank you once more, and thank you to our guest speaker tonight, Mr. Uche Nwobi. I'm very, very grateful. Thank you for honoring the invite, and for the audience, thank you. I believe that you've got value for your time this evening. So do have a lovely night's rest and enjoy a blessed holiday. Thank you, everyone.
And you too. Bye bye. Thank you.
Sir. Bye, sir. Bye, everyone.